Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving all of you an update on the market. Now, this update is going to come from information that I have received by talking to a bunch of dealers. I will be having a more data-driven video coming out in the next few days, but I figured that I would just post this short video so you guys can kind of get a feel for what the car market's currently experiencing. Before we get into the video though, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. And then if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Let's get into it. So over the last couple of months, I have made several videos talking about how the car market is currently experiencing this strange shift where there is less and less interest on new cars and there's more and more interest when it comes to pre-owned cars. And again, the data that I've gone over the last couple of months definitely supports this because used car wholesale prices have been steadily increasing at the same time that used car inventory in terms of the days supply number has been steadily decreasing. Whereas on the new car side of things, new car pricing has actually been steadily decreasing. Now, not by a massive amount, but it has been decreasing. And then at the same time, new car supply with most manufacturers have been increasing. I mean, I just made a video yesterday talking about how General Motors is literally halting production with their pickup trucks because, well, they built too many of them. And on the ground, this is definitely creating some interesting dynamics. So there are two types of new car dealers we're going to talk about in today's video. There are the new car dealers that are focusing on only selling new cars, and then there are the new car dealers that focus on both new and pre-owned cars. And today's market is frankly crushing the new car dealers that focus on selling new cars because, again, interest in new cars just keeps decreasing month after month. I mean, last month, again, this is anecdotally, I talked to several dealers that sell, focus on the new cars, and they said they were struggling to sell cars. And, talking to them over the last couple of days, into March, they've been telling me that, yeah, they had a horrible month last month. It just was way worse than they could have ever expected. And, they're crossing their fingers that this month is going to be better. But, we'll just have to see what happens. And it, again, as an outsider, it looks like kind of like a positive feedback loop because what it looks like is happening is, again, these new car dealers, they focus on selling new cars and they don't really focus on the used car side of things. They do have pretty much every single dealer that sells new cars has used cars, but when I say that these dealers focus on new cars, they don't really go out and buy used cars, and their used car inventory is usually pretty thin overall. And so if they start selling fewer and fewer new cars, that means they're getting fewer trade-ins, and because they're not really going out and buying cars, that means their used car inventory gets even smaller, and so they have even fewer cars to sell overall. And so it puts the dealership in a position where they just don't really have anything to sell to customers, and so then they just put themselves in a worse and worse position, at least with everything that's currently happening. Now, on the other side of things, there are car dealers, new car dealers that focus on selling used cars, and I can tell you right now, they are absolutely killing it because, again, the used car market is heating up a massive amount. And not only are these dealers selling more cars right now, but some of them are making even more profit because it seems like, these used car buyers are not only willing to pay the prices that these dealers are asking for these cars, but a lot of the times they're willing to buy accessories and warranties that new car buyers aren't willing to pay for, which is really interesting because historically that hasn't really been the case. What you usually see is that a used car buyer is buying a used car because, budget is, at the forefront of their mind. And so they're not really willing to spend all that much money on top of the car itself. So they usually don't buy warranties, they usually don't buy accessories. Whereas new car buyers, right, they're usually buying it because it's more of a want rather than a need. And so they're willing to spend a little bit of extra money on maybe a warranty to protect that brand new shiny car and, maybe some accessories to make that brand new car look a little bit cooler. But it seems like there's been a shift, at least from, again, what I've been told anecdotally. And so it'll be interesting to see how this market trend, trends through the next couple of months. But what I can tell you is that in the short term, at least, if a dealership is willing to go out and buy inventory and focus on the used car market right now, they're going to do really well. And if a dealer's not willing to do that, and if they're just going to focus on new cars, you know, in some regions, I'm sure that they're going to be just fine, but it seems like overall, because of the demand destruction with the new car market, they're going to struggle. They're going to sell fewer and fewer cars, and then they're going to be sitting there asking themselves why there's no business, right? So to cap things off, anecdotally, it looks like new car demand is continuing to decline at the same time that used car demand is continuing to increase, which, again, as someone who is, I guess, outside of all of this, it's very strange for me to personally see, because there are a lot of cases where I have seen people pay more for a pre-owned car than what they would pay for that car brand new. And it's not like the brand new car is not available, because again, new car inventory is higher today than it has been in quite some time. And again, I can't explain it. I don't understand why people are willing to pay prices for these used cars when they're not willing to pay those same prices for new cars. And I mean, let me know, like, please explain in the comment section down below, like, why would someone go and buy a used car that has miles on it and spend more money on that than the same exact car, brand new, no miles, full warranty, everything? Like, again, when I look at it, I think that these people just aren't doing proper research. I think that they're just going and they're thinking that all they can afford is a used car, and so they go and look at the used car market and they just buy, you know, the used cars based on current market values. And so it's an interesting situation overall, and it'll be interesting to see how it evolves. And I guess the last thing I want to mention is there are some new car dealers that I've seen that have completely, like, just sold all of their inventory, because again, I just talked about how those used car wholesale prices have been increasing recently, and so they basically see that as a way to just cash out on their used car inventory and get rid of it. And I think that, again, I obviously can't predict the future, but I think this is something that could bite some of these dealers in the butt, because, again, if the market continues to see more and more demand destruction with these new cars, then, well, if they have no used cars to sell, then they're just not going to sell anything. See ya.